Yes, indeed. Good afternoon, morning, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers, and sisters. This is the Apex Online Racing PC GT3 Elite League Season 9, Round number 7, here at the Zhuhai International Circuit. My name is King-Kodiak, and I'll be one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Joining me in the commentary box and in control of the cameras once again is the Lord, the God. It is Fizzy.
Oh, hey, hello KK, hello everyone else who is watching on this lovely Wednesday evening here at Zhuhai. Well, in the game it's actually not evening, it's the middle of the day or late afternoon. Yeah, it's going to be another exciting race. Round 7, only 4 races to go.
It's over too quick.
Over too quick. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we just started, didn't we?
Yeah, I know. It's been such an incredible season, but yeah, we have got 25 drivers with us for this particular race. We have actually lost a couple. I'm sure we had 27 in the lobby to start with. That probably included me and Fizzy. So yeah, this is one of my favourite circuits. It's one of the few circuits that I've commentated on and raced on. It didn't go very well for me. I actually got disqualified.
Well, that's the worst way it can go.
Yes, unfortunately so. But never mind. That is nature of the beast. Unfortunately, somebody lagged out in front of me and I couldn't avoid them in time. I'm just going to turn my game volume down just a little so that your dulcet tones are clear for all to hear. Mr. Fizzy. Jardier, our current championship leader, has won all but one round, but he's not very well today. So we will see how that comes out for him. And I found out recently that I actually commentate on this man in 2 different places. Here, of course... And yes, I also commentate on a Czech Republic league that Zhuhai, or Jaroslav Hosnik, as he is otherwise known, he drives in that as well. So
yeah. Oh, I know exactly which one as well. And yeah, I didn't know that until recently as well. Actually, when I saw his real name on Twitter. So
that's how I found out. Actually, I was like, I recognise that name. So I get a double dose of Jardier every, not quite every week, because the other league isn't on a weekly basis. So we will see how our flu-stricken Ferrari giant does in today's race.
I guess that's not too bad. He is, of course, leading the championship by quite a margin. Unless something absolutely catastrophic happens, he should win this Season 9 championship of the AOR GT3 Elite League and become the 6th different champion, just quickly off the top of my head, I think, anyway. Or 7th, potentially.
He's already got it on pole, but that's 3 drivers within a 10th. And look who is number 3 at the moment. Mark Buensi.
Woo! In a Lamborghini. Yeah, I mean, we're starting off. We've seen some very, very close qualifyings in recent weeks, haven't we? And it started off in the same way here. 600s. Oh, and Ben Van Orman puts in a lap. But Jadier's teammate, of course, 2 tenths quicker. Set the pace early on. And
yeah, 5, 6, and 7 are very close as well. Actually, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Doc is in there in 6th position, 132.7. 7 thousandths off the back of Vasil Sterowicz in 5th position, I believe. Fab Iceman, our pole man, and he led about half the race-ish last week in his Ferrari. He's 7th position, 132.7, 6.6, and Murphy. Ooh, he's just jumped up to 5th athlete. Actually,
Janette's back.
Yeah, Janette. It's Popsu. He's broken 132. Wow, 131.996. They're not hanging around, which is interesting because I mean we're in for a dry race in this particular event, so it's going to be a hazy event. So it doesn't affect their visibility all that much, but they're not hanging around. We've still got 10 minutes of qualifying to go.
We do, yeah, and the times are coming in thick and fast. It's obviously quite hard for us to know where to look at all times because we don't know where every driver is on track, but we do know that Jardier is coming across the line for his 2nd attempt at a lap in this qualifying session. He's currently 3rd, and he doesn't seem to improve as he's just blinking his lights there to make sure the cars coming out of the pits don't get in his way. So yeah, pretty close though. A talent still between the top 2. And Oblitor in Lamborghini also into the top 10.
He is currently 9th. Sadly, he didn't finish the race last week in Long Beach, which is a very, very tricky track at the best of times. Andrex in his M6, currently 18th. He sits on a 134 1:99. That's plenty of time for improvements to happen. Looks like we only have one stuck in the timing bug, or either that or who's 25th? I'm trying to think who HAR. Oh, Hardway, of course it is. So it could be that Hardway isn't taking part in this qualifier session, which would be strange. There aren't any quali bans that I'm aware of.
Don't believe so, no.
Yep, there weren't any stewards inquiries from our race last week, so I'd be surprised if Hardway chooses not to set a quali lap. Vernux, our current champion, down in 24th, but 1:45 I think it's fair to say is not a representative lap. Oh
no, we have lost so much. Yeah, I think that might.
That was
be
Hardway.
Hardway.
It was indeed. Yeah, Hardway's.
Some issues there.
That's a shame.
It's indeed a shame. Yeah, Vernix, it's quite interesting actually, because we are all used to the Ferrari being very dominant, but I believe we have had a new patch actually since the previous race, with a bit of balance of power changes to a few cars. The Ferrari has apparently been reduced a little bit well, the weight has been raised on the Ferrari, so it's a little bit heavier, which should make it theoretically a little bit slower, whereas a few of the other cars have had buffs such as weight reduction or power increase or similar things. Can't quite remember which cars. I think the Audi is unaffected. Yeah, I'll have to find a list, but it could be interesting to see if that changes the order a bit.
Oh, that was close. With the Audi just coming out of the pits, and Nesterovic is up to 3rd. Effort, fantastic. Abajadier now down to 4th. Riding on board with our championship leader. As he's gone through turns 1 and 2, now just touch the apex for 3. Heavy braking zone into turn 4. This catches a lot of drivers out. The near non-existent turn 5, that's I'm not sure who that is ahead of them. Turn 6, flat out right-hander, that'll be that's probably Fab Iceman. Heavy braking zone turn 7. This is going to be quite a common overtaking spot, I would think, especially if someone's made a mistake in turn 4. That is going to be very heavily utilised. Now, slight kink of turn 8, heavy braking zone once again for turn 9. Again, this corner's a little deceptive. You want to try and push a little bit harder than the tyres are ready for. Just a little lift for turn 10. I kept flying off the road there when I was doing the social race earlier in the week. And yeah, I was potato bad, so let's not talk about that one. Heavy braking zone once again into turn 11. Very nicely done. It stays to the outside for turn 12. It's not really worth trying to cast the apex for 12 because your car just naturally wanders over to the left. Kink of 13, then catch the braking zone right for 14. It's so easy to wander too wide onto the grass, and the cars don't like it. Will Jardier improve? And for some reason, I had a pit thing in the middle of the track then, which was rather strange. You know the green arrows you get on the bottom of the pit box? I had that on the start-finish straight just then. And Jardier did not improve, and I don't think he's been back in the pit, so I think he's just running laps at the moment. Buensi.
Yeah, that could be, obviously, with him being ill, he's probably not practiced much, so maybe it's just sort of running a bit of a general practice for himself, rather than going for the all-out lap. But it's quite impressive in that case to just still be in P4.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Buensi flashing his lights to indicate he's on a hot lap, but obviously if everybody's on hot laps, then no one has to jump out of the way. Andrex in the red M6 dutifully does. I think that's Vernux in the black M6 does also get out of Mark's way, as he is now coming towards the end of the lap. On the brakes again. You saw where the Lamborghini just didn't quite grip as much as he would like now, coming down to the line. And does he improve? He remains in 6th position, but he's only 1/1000th off this. He did actually improve by 1/1000th of a second.
Wow. Hey, that's consistency.
No, completely, yeah, absolutely.
And he's 1,000 as well off being ahead of Murphy as well, so that's incredibly close to 5th there. Tisney goes across the line without improving as well. So Popstus actually increased his advantage. He was less than a tenth ahead of Venom, and now he's increased it to nearly 0.3 of a second.
And still, you saw how much that Ferrari was just snaking away. And still, the only man to have broken 132.
Oh,
Van Orman. Yeah, that was on the exit of turn 10. It's so, again, it's tempting. Oh, Jardier's done exactly the same thing.
The spins. The Ferrari hasn't been nerfed this bad. I think this. they might just not bother to save spins before going to the pit lane. But yeah, Jadier did improve his time slightly as well to go up to third now, ahead of Nesterovic.
Yeah.
Murphy still running around in P5 in that Ginetta, the sole Ginetta in the field, as we know.
That's coming also towards the end of the lap as well. So coming into 13. Turns the apex there, stays quite safely on away from that apex. I've got that strange pit thing there. That's going to amuse me every time I come past it. Murphy does not improve that time around. So let's see if he's able to do anything. Oh, he's got a lot of traffic ahead of him. A lot of cars constantly on track as well. Looks like Hardway was not able to return, which is a bit of a shame. Fab Iceman, our pole sitter from last week. He's coming to turn 7, I believe he is. Look where he... No, I beg your pardon, that's turn 11. 7.
He's not pushing at the moment, so it's probably an outlap for him at the moment.
Zal in 9th position. He's coming up behind one of the Z4s. That's turn 7, I think. No, 7 and 11 look the same from the outside.
Yeah, they do.
That is
very
indeed
tight happen.
Yeah, they are. That is indeed turn 7, and he's coming to that slightly. Oh, and again, he turned the front, but he just did not bite whatsoever. That just caused a very big slide for Zal then. Oh, and the tail then starting to get lively on the exit of 10, which is so easy to do. Because again, it's just a very slight lift, but if you put too much throttle down too early, the tail will not stick, and it will just throw you off the road.
It is indeed the case, and so the Ferrari in the back starting to weave a little bit there, clearly aborting his lap or being on an outlap. Zaldo coming towards the end of the lap now, flying through the final corner. Looks pretty nice to me, and it's probably a bit too far back to get any slipstream from that BMW ahead of him. He's currently P9 and he stays in P9. So Murphy goes P4 just behind him, with a very slight improvement as well.
Indeed, that jumps Nesterovic for that 4th position. Ooh, steady. That first turn's very bumpy. Turns 1 and 2 are very, very bumpy. It's very easy just to not quite ride the bumps well enough, and it spits you out. On board then with Fab Iceman, just come through turn 7. That's Oblator ahead of him. That's quite a way away, so he's not going to be affected by him in any way. Oh, he's backed off though. He's going to take his time a bit with this lap. He hasn't got much time left. There's already just 1 minute 15 left. Doc is pushing quite hard. He's already having to put the opposite lock on. He's coming. That's turn 11 and 12. That, I think, is Fab Iceman ahead of him, perhaps. There's 2 red Ferraris that are very, very similar. I always get them the wrong way around. But that's turn 14. That's Doc in the Soul Blue Mercedes. Is indeed Fab Iceman is coming up to. Does Doc improve from 10th? He does not. Oh, it was Relo. Actually, he wasn't Iceman at all. Those are the 2 red Ferraris. I keep getting the wrong way around. So Doc can finish this lap. 40 seconds on the clock as Tidgney has chosen to call it a day. He will finish start no higher than 7th.
Helps us improve again his gap down to Van Ommen. So it's over 3 tenths in that. He just keeps putting in faster and faster laps. He seems to be really on it in his qualifying session. Absolutely,
he's taking full advantage of the fact that Jadier is not feeling very well, and that's precisely what he should do. There is our championship leader. He's 4 tenths off the pace at the moment. That's his teammate Van Ommen, already ahead on track and in qualifying position. So it is a Ferrari 1, 2, 3 at the moment. But Murphy's not far off. He's less than. It's actually just over a tenth behind Jadier. Now the checker flag comes out. Jadier pushing quite hard on turn 4, which is a little dangerous because if you do wander onto that tarmac area, you will have your lap invalidated. Buensi, 3rd position in the Lambo, 132, 120. Ooh, Van Ommen's called it a day. He will do no higher than 2nd. Popsy's actually still going. What a stunner from Mark Buensi. Let us hope that he doesn't have yet another. I do feel a bit sorry for Mark Buensi. He's had some brilliant performances and has been let down by connection quite a few times.
Yeah, last week and 3 weeks ago as well, he should have had a top 10 by the way his race was going, but in both of those races he did disconnect. Luckily the race in between, in round 5, he did get a solid 7th place, but yeah, he definitely should have been higher up than the 25th place he's holding in the championship at the moment. Certainly, if he's going to make the 3rd place on the grid into a similar sort of finishing position, he will gain a lot of positions in the championship. Jadier, though, coming across the line for his final attempt. Oh, and he does go ahead.
Second.
Phenomenon and Buensi goes up to second place. Not quite enough, though, to get Popsu. And Buensi is just rolling around on this sort of victory celebration lap to get a little bit fourth place on the grid. The Sterovich goes across to not improve. Iceman.
He's slowed down.
Still, he's slowed down as well.
He's even got his windscreen wipers on.
Just in case it starts raining.
Well, thankfully, the bug that sends everybody down to the bottom of the list when they've got across the line after qualifying has been fixed. So we can actually see where everybody has qualified. That's quite nice to see. And
that's very good.
Either the timing bug has been fixed, or, and I actually think this is true, we have no one stuck in it. So... Therefore,
good news.
Either way, good news, yeah. Popsu then claiming another pole in this league with Jardier in second. The only two men to break 132. Mr. Van Olmen third. Mark Buensi, the lead Lamborghini, in fourth. Murphy 5. Nesterowicz 6. Disney 7. Fab Houseman 8. Oscar L 9. And Doc rounding out the top 10 in the Mercedes.
There we have two Desert Pack, Oblitor, Nick Meter, Rilo, Tapek, right in the middle of the pack. Steve Adrex in 17th, actually. So he'll be looking to make some positions up, as he likes to do. Tex Wheeler, Domino, and Poppleton, I think, were the last guys in the top 20. Then we got Iceberg, and Mickesby, Noah, and Vernux, our reigning champion, at the back of the field.
Yeah, this has not gone well for our reigning champion, but I think you said before that I think he decided earlier on in the season that he wasn't pushing too hard to defend it. He's enjoying being the champion, but enjoying being part of the league as well. He's put in some good performances, but we will see how he is able to perform this time around.
Yinzi, do you perhaps want to show the championship standings while we wait
Why
for...
the devil not? Let me just bring that up right now, and there it is. If I turn it on, there we go. So Jardier leading by 59.5 points. That is half a point off of 1.5 victories. Of course, 40 points for a victory, so he already has a complete victory in hand with 4 rounds remaining of the championship, with Popsy 2, Tisney 3, of Fab Iceman 4, Leon, who's had some decent races but hasn't quite been able to follow that consistency through. Finds himself in 5th position with Nesterowicz 6th, Van Olmen 7, Andrex 8, Zal 9, and Vernux, our champion, in 10th position. Switch over to our team championship. And there they are with the Trollovision Community Racing, Jardier and Van Olmen leading the way by just under 50 points from GT Aces, Tisney and Nesterowicz. Virtual Drivers by TX3, I think they were second previously, so they're down in third now. With the Scandinavians, Leon and Zal in 4th, Nonchalant Dominance, Fab Iceman and Steve A in 5th place, TNR, Thomas Racing, Vernux and Yorkie. Yorkie is not with us, he's actually in Canada at the moment, enjoying the luxuries of North America. And Prancing Horse Racing, at Alexis and Relo in 7th, with BMW UK, there's Andrex in 8th. Wow, they were quick to get off the line. And Audi German factory team, 2 Desert Pack and Empty Turd in 9th, and Regret Lambo, Oblitor and Rick, rounding out the top 10.
Indeed, and you can hear the engines starting to roar in the background because we have got cars moving off the grid. Finally, everyone seems to have gotten underway on the formation lap without any problems. So we have a 24-car grid today. That's the lowest number we've seen this season so far. As you mentioned, a few drivers missing, Yorkie being one of them. For whatever reason, I'm sure they have some good reason for missing the races. And Alexis also not here, Cole McCoy not here, Rick and Leon the sick one also not here. So some pretty solid drivers missing from the field, but still 24 cars. We should be able to get some good racing going regardless.
Absolutely. So for those unfamiliar with the setup, as you can see, we are not racing quite just yet. We are doing a formation lap. So drivers have an opportunity to get the tyres and brakes warmed up as they see fit, and they will form into the 2.2 line at the formation point, which is at turn 10, I believe it is. It's going up again, yeah. So it's just as they come around turn 10, which they're just coming up to turn 9 now. So after the next turn, they will form the 2x2 line, at which the speed is reduced to 50 miles an hour, 80 kilometers an hour. So about now is when they're going to form the 2x2 line. This line is then driven all the way round back to the start-finish straight, of which the race leader, which is of course Popsu this time, will floor it to signify the beginning of the lap. There's two Pack really getting some heat into his tyres. Once the line is formed, they are not allowed to do that. They must remain in their line without doing excessive weaving. Of course, you're that close to other cars around you. If you started weaving, you are likely to take someone off the road. This is what it looks like from right in the middle of the field. There's Andrex slightly further back in 17th position. Andrex himself is, he admits himself he's not a strong qualifier, and consistency is what he is known for. He waits for others to make mistakes and tries not to get involved in other people's crashes, and therefore picks up positions in that way. We are looking at Popsy then. He can floor it to signify the beginning of the race at any point from now. And there he goes. We are now racing here at Zhuhai.
Well, Cars storming down towards the first corner, battling for the third place. Van Omen having to defend. He goes very defensive from the Ginetta of Murphy. Ooh, just about to voice his teammate Murphy, though, trying to swoop around the outside to get third place. A little bit of door banging them between them, but still going down the straight. They're getting very, very close together. Does Murphy still have the inside line? Yes, it does. Murphy, if he can nail the braking, moves into third place ahead of Mr. Van Omen. The top two staying in the place started. Oh, and Murphy going a little bit wide, actually. Might give Van Omen a chance to get straight back past him, but Murphy manages to place his car on the inside line, and Van Omen is not able to get alongside for the braking zone. Buensi as well, and Nesterovic, the cars just behind.
Everyone's gone through cleanly so far. A little bit of wheel banging going on, but nothing too bad. You can see Jardier in the distance is keeping the pressure on Popsy for the race lead. He's not letting that one go. Doc's gained a position from where he started. He's in 9th, but he's got Sal on his inside line with the Ferrari. But he's well defended that with the Mercedes. Doc was actually quite confident that the Mercedes would be able to provide a pretty strong performance, and so far so good for the Blue Merc. That's ahead. That's Fab Iceman trying to do a move for 7th position. Mark Buensi is trying to fend off Nesterovic in that black Audi, but so far so clean for him. There is Iceman side by side with Tidney as they're now coming through 13 and 14. The Ferrari having the inside line. He should be able to maintain 7th. He does indeed, but Tisney, oh no, Tisney's in trouble. He overcooked it. He did hold it. He's kept it out of the wall, but that's going to lose him a lot of positions.
Yeah, it's going to be under pressure down the whole straight. Now we can see the foreground as well. Buensi having to defend from Nesterovic, potentially dropping positions there, down out of the top 10. Two cars on this outside still going through the first couple of corners. And he does hold on to 11th place and just ahead of Tapek, Popsu's teammate. And speaking of Popsu, he is still holding on to the lead, but Jardier is clinging on to the back of him. The two drivers at the front having gotten a bit of a gap to the rest. Murphy looking solid now in 3rd place, and Buensi did lose out to Nesterovic. Oh, they're still going actually slightly off the track even for Buensi, who tries to brake late to get on the outside on Nesterovic, but the Audi defends it nicely, and the Buensi as well. It's not going to help his exit to get on the grass with his left tyres, but yeah, frantic action there at the start.
Fab Iceman is primed in a position to try and attack Mark Buensi. He's having a look on the inside of turn 9. Doc is right there as well. Doc has gained another position from Scarazal, so he's now up to 8th in the Mercedes. Oh, the tail twitching ever so slightly on the Lambo. Look at that. That's Murphy's lost a position. Murphy has lost that 3rd place to Van Omen. I wondered if he got a slowdown, because that looked a little bit easy for the yellow Ferrari to blast past the Ginetta. Just saw Jardier at the bottom of the shot. That's not an overtaking. He's just making himself big in the mirrors as he's not quite close enough. There's Nesterovic keeping Mark Buensi at bay. So much battling going on. The field hasn't spread out too much, which is great for us, but difficult to keep up with.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to know where to look at the moment, because cars defending against side by side everywhere. Again, Buensi going super defensive down into the first corner, this time defending from Fab Iceman, and manages to hold on to it. Oh, wiggling on the exit as well. That could be scary if Iceman is not properly awake. But it looks to be, and he's even trying to attack still. But Buensi does place that Lamborghini on the racing line in the end. Oh, runs wide though. That could be a slowdown potentially. I'm not too familiar with how each corner on this track is in terms of the track limits, but certainly not going to help. He does stay ahead at the time for the time. Buensi though doesn't seem to be very much under pressure, and Iceman with a huge dive bomb there. A little bit of contact as well Not sure if Wentz is going to be too happy about that, but it does look like Iceman does have the upper hand going into the next corner now, and if and he doesn't even need to nail the braking because he's ahead before the braking zone, and side by side behind as well, Doc and Zal still going at it. I don't know when to stop talking, KK, because there's just action everywhere.
It's action everywhere, absolutely. Well defended there by Doc. He'd been defending for several corners. Look behind though, 3 wide. That's Tisney. I can't even tell who's in that. That's Tisney, Tupac, and Tupac.
Tupac and Tupac and Tupac.
Yeah, you knew where I was going with that. 2 Desert Pack and Tupac are all in there as well. Look at the train behind. That's a bit of a gap forming ahead of 2 Desert Pack and the Audi, but there's just a massive train of cars behind. It's not like they're particularly being held up. They're just very close. Oh, there's Tupac in trouble. He's gone wide at that last. Oh my God! I think it's Rillo that flew off. And look at the positions that Tupac has lost. He's down to 14 now, 15. Andrex has gone past him. Oblator's gone past him. Oh, that's getting very deep into turn 1. He's so close to impact with the Lamborghini. Well, if he'd hit the Lamborghini, he would have stopped pretty quick. That thing's pretty big. He's now trying to do an outside manoeuvre on Andrex coming down into turn 3. But the Advantage M6 on that one now trying to get the braking point right for turn 4. And doesn't manage to outbrake the M6 just yet. But so much going on. And across the field, looks like Popsu's managed to open up another couple of tenths on Jardier. And Van Orman hasn't closed that gap to his teammate just yet. Oh my goodness me, it's all going off everywhere. That's Nick Meadow in the Nissan.
Just crazy battling here in the midfield, especially. Even at the front, it's been good, but yeah, this is all kicking off, and it's Nick Meadow trying to get 11th place from Tisney, who might drop another position, but he's not giving up on it. Nearly making contact with a Nissan, but managed to just about back out of it in time, and now he's going to be under pressure potentially from Obligor in that rainbow Lamborghini, but he's more under pressure from Andrex, who's still battling with Tupac. God. Will Andrex try to go for a late braking move on the Lamborghini? Yes, he will actually. Oh, and Tupac still going for the move. Both of them. That's not going to end too well somehow.
Oh, that's Tisney. He's gone wide.
Off the track, but Tisney's off the track. Yeah, Tisney in the Audi has gone off the track just ahead of them. He's going to drop down almost out of the points now. The Audi.
Yeah, he's down to
he's third in the championship.
Oh dear, that is disaster. That was a very weird incident. It was almost like Tisney was trying to, unless he got a slowdown penalty, realised how many people were around him and just got out of the way. And you can't blame him at all. It's not a particularly wide part of the track after turn 12. So he just got out of everybody's way. There's Steve. He hasn't been able to... Has Steve changed car? No, he's a bigger button. He was looking at the Audi, but the camera was looking at the Ferrari. Oh no! That's Tupac. I think that's Tupac and Rillo.
Rillo as well.
Oh my goodness me, huge problem. Rillo's not even moving. Oh my goodness. Oh, now he's underway. Massive problem for them. But Jardier's caught back up with Popsu again. These guys are 4.3 seconds. You just about see the rest of the pack behind them. Popsu is doing everything he can to keep that charging yellow Ferrari behind. Here we go. We've got a repeat, sort of last week where Jardier was chasing. It was Fab Iceman's red Ferrari last week with Popsu just behind. This time Jardier is now chasing. Oh my goodness me, that's very deep into turn 11. Unless he opted to go for a wider line, which is enabling him to hang on to Popsu. But this time Jardier is still chasing a Ferrari. But oh my goodness me, it's difficult to know who's got the pace. These two have been so well matched all season long.
Yeah, Popsu did have the pace in qualifying by a few tenths, but of course we know that Jardier is apparently currently ill and didn't do too much practice compared to usual. Maybe that means he will increase his pace as the race goes on. Popsu goes wide at turn 1. They're going to be side by side coming out of it for the lead of this race. Popsu though just about has his car still on the inside line for the next corner, but that was very close for Popsu. Will Jardier go for it in the braking zone? No. He managed to play, or he decides to play it safe for the time being, but very close call for Popsu there to keep hold of the lead.
Absolutely. 2 Desert Packs got himself a penalty, unfortunately. So with the battling going on around him, it's difficult to... If you get a slowdown penalty, it's very tempting just to keep going and hope that it'll fade off. Unfortunately, he has got himself a penalty. Those time penalties can be contested post-race. That's Murphy in 4th with Nistero. It's all over his tail. Fab Iceman's right there. Mr. Van Ommen's actually broken away from this pack. Let's see if he's able to chase down his teammate. But we'll see. It doesn't look like Van Ommen's got the pace to keep up with the top two at the moment. Nistero is having a look at the inside. Oh, goodness me. That Ginetta was getting very, very loose with the look of it. But that Audi's had a great run out of 9 and 10. It looks like he's going to try and shape up a move into 11th. 5 Iceman's going along for the ride as well. Mark Buenzi's not far behind, with Doc also still carrying... oh, goodness me, I couldn't even finish that. Oh, 5 Iceman, what an opportunistic move. He's got 2 of them. He's got the pair of them at turn 12. Brilliantly done. The Ginetta and the Audi came together, and very opportunistic move by Iceman to claim 2 positions in 2 corners.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Tisney was going, Nesterovic was going for the move on Murphy. Just got them pushed a little bit too wide, both of them. Iceman being super opportunistic, just cutting underneath, getting a fantastic exit and just grabbing that. I'm not sure the other 2, while they were battling, even considered the possibility of losing position to Iceman there, but he managed to sneak underneath. Fantastic stuff from the guy who impressed so much, of course, last week. 2nd place after holding off from Jardier half of the race, and then holding on from Popstu for the rest of it. Those are, of course, our 2 top guys in this race at the moment, which shows just how impressive that feat was. And now he has the chance to show his pace with some clear air ahead of him to see if he can catch Van Ommen.
Looks like Fab Iceman has actually managed to open up a bit of a gap to the Ginetta as well. There's about 8 tenths or so. But Murphy can't just concentrate on the attack because he's got Nesterovic not far behind, and Nesterovic can't entirely concentrate on that ahead of him because Mark Buenzi's right with him as well. Look at the train behind Doc. That is 2 Desert Pack, Zal, Nick Meadow and Omnitor and Andrex as well. Before there's a small gap back to Tex Wheeler. Andrex, of course, qualifying down in 17th. This is exactly what we've referred to earlier. His consistency has enabled him to work his way up to 13th position. Jardier shaping up for a move on Popsu. He's had a look on the inside coming down to the last turn. He does opt against it. It's not a very big braking zone there. It's not significant enough to try a big lunge unless the person you are racing goes wide. So now it's still less than 2 tenths. Jardier is surely going to shape up for a move into turn 1. He's having a look on the inside, and again he opts not to. But Popsu does take the defensive line. Jardier looked like he had the extra pace, couldn't use it though, as Popsu had defended the apex perfectly well. And that's cost Jardier a few tenths, but we've seen already in this race, even when the man's ill, he's still right on the pace.
Yeah, fantastic stuff at the moment from Jardier to keep attacking Popsu, but Popsu, apart from that little wide moment we saw on the previous lap, he is not really a bit wrong by the looks of it. He is not buckled under the pressure of the championship leader at the moment, and getting a late apex there. Jardier, though, he seems to be trying to get as close as possible for the end of the lap to lining up for a move on the longest straight on the track, of course, the main straight, which he did try on the previous lap, but just, you know, the slipstream effect didn't really seem to be there. It wasn't gaining enough on the straight despite being really, really close coming out of the final corner. So it's going to be hard to overtake, it looks like anyway, as long as Popsu keeps driving as it does, despite this being a track with a pretty long straights and heavy braking zones.
Indeed. Oh, Jardier was a little deep there on 11. That's going to compromise him as they come out of 12, but he's sat still right under that rear wing, which is going to annoy Popsu. And that's what Jardier is going to want to do. He's going to want to keep pestering and pestering and pestering. But it didn't work awfully well for Jardier at Road America, the only circuit he hasn't won at this season. Of course, and it was Popsu that he was chasing for all of that. We did see a few mistakes, but we also saw how quickly he closed that down. Popsu even feeling the need to defend on the run down to turn 1. We've seen Popsu make a few mistakes there already this race, and very cleanly done. But Jardier has had a good run on the exit of 1. Can he stay under that rear wing now through 3? Again, it's not a particularly big break zone for 4. He has a look on the inside, but again, he does choose not to. It's not a wise one to do because the circuit, that corner just doesn't lend itself particularly to overtaking unless you can force your opponent wide. Here at turn 7 is a far better way to do it. He has a look, but again, he opts not to. Oh, I thought he was going to go a little bit too deep. He's really keeping the pressure on Popsu. Popsu doing his best to keep Jardier behind, but that is helping Van Ommen come into it a little bit, I think. Although looking at the lap times, Van Ommen is close but not quite up to the pace of these two. Yeah,
despite the pressure and the attack attempts, they are still setting the pace of the field, these two. Popsu and Jardier both with a 33.6 last lap. Van Ommen, the closest, with a 33.9. And actually Doc down in 8th as well with a 33.9, and Jardier again trying to break a little bit on the inside just to show his car in the mirrors of the blue Ferrari ahead of him. Popsu though, just driving his line, not being scared into a mistake as it stands. Now into the final corner onto the main straight. Jardier not
Pops is wide!
and Pops is run wide, is turning too late there. Jardier, big big shift in direction there for Jardier as he pulls to the side. Does he have the inside? Is he close enough going into the first corner to outbrake the leader of the race? Yes, he does go for it. Can he slow it down without losing control? Popsy trying to get a better exit for the next corner, but it looks like Jardier has got the lead.
He has, but he's not going to hold it. Popsy already got on the inside, or trying to get on the inside for turn 3. He doesn't hold it. What happened? That all happened at turn 14. Popsy went too deep, and then to couple it all off, Jardier had a big snap of oversteer, but he caught it very, very quickly, which enabled him to get the forward motion going that much quicker. But it's going to be hard, I think, for Jardier to break away. This is where we're really going to see how, inverted commas, ill. Maybe he's been trolling us all along. Maybe he's absolutely fine. But now is the perfect opportunity, of course, for Jardier to break away. Popsy does seem to be buckling a bit under the pressure, but Popsy now, it's his opportunity to return the favour on to our current championship leader.
Yeah, and there must have been some huge drama going on further back while these guys have been swapping around, because Murphy has disappeared from 5th place and from the whole session.
We're down to 22 drivers.
And someone else has disappeared. Nesterovic was in 6th. He was first passed by Mark Buenzi, and then he's dropped to 12th for some reason. Well,
we saw Nesterovic go wide and off the track at turn 12 a few laps back. I think he was trying to serve a slowdown penalty without getting in everybody's way. Andrex, oh my goodness me, right under Nick Meadows' wing, trying to do something to get into the top 10. Well, he is in 10th, well, more within the top 10, I should say. Keeping up with Nick Meadows, but he's got Orbitol right with him as well. Doc is up to 6th. He's had a good run as well, so he's really making that Mercedes work well for him. He was, like I said earlier, he was quite confident that Mercedes would perform well, and he is proving that point. But he still has 2 Desert Pack right with him.
Yeah, Doc, the main beneficiary of the problems that has fallen upon Murphy and Nesterovic at the moment. 6th place would be by far his best result of the season. Andrex holding on from the Lamborghini at the moment. He's moved up from 17th to 10th, so Andrex also having a very strong race, as we are used to seeing in that BMW M6. And to Desert Pack as well, up to 7th place.
Yeah, so Oscar Zal behind him, so he's right in the pound seats at the moment, and keeping an eye on the times. Jardier did get a second on Popsy last time around, of course, with Popsy's mistake, but there's still only 6/10 between those two Ferraris in the front, so Jardier's not pulled away too much just yet. But we'll see if he's able to open that up as the race goes on. We're nowhere near even halfway yet. We're only just over quarter distance, so plenty of racing to go. Doc now able to get into his stride. We saw, as you spotted earlier, Vizzy, he was actually setting 33.9, similar to our leaders. So when he gets some open air, he's able to really press on. Andrex stuck right in the middle of that pack. Oh, again! It does look like that Nick Media brakes a little bit earlier, or it looks like from that camera at least. He brakes earlier than the M6. Oh, Oblator having a look at the inside of Andrex. Couldn't quite get the power down when he needs it, but surely he's not going to have a look at the inside of 14. No, he actually backs out of that to try and get a decent drive on the exit of the corner. Which he does. He's pretty much matched the M6 and the Nissan ahead. Is he going to have a look at the inside of turn 1? He's in the slipstream. Andre's gone really defensive very, very early on. Is Oblator going to go for an outside move? I don't think he quite intended to. I think Andres just braked a little earlier than he was expecting, and Andrex maintains that 10th position. Oh, that was a weird moment there.
Celebrating that defense with a little jump there in the air for a moment. Oblator now instead of under pressure from Nesterovic, of course, who, assuming he's got no damage, will be looking to get back through the field up to where he should be. He probably feels like he should be in the top 5 as he was before. Looking a bit to the inside, but it's too far back to try and make a move on the Lamborghini at the moment. To be honest, both of the Audis have had a shocker of a race so far. Nesterovic.
We've actually lost another. We're down to 21.
Oh yeah. At least it doesn't seem to be anyone from the top range of the fields, but yeah, bad luck to whoever that was.
Indeed, it's quite a race of attrition, this one. Tisney was, as you said earlier, his race is just going from bad to disastrous, trying to make a move on Tex Wheeler in the Porsche. He's going to go for an outside manoeuvre around turn 11. Can he get the traction when he needs it. Oh, no, he can't. Just again, that Audi a little too loose. And just got away from him a little bit and allowed Tex Wheeler to maintain alongside. It's going to be a little bit hard in mouth when they go through turn 14. Tidgney's going to maintain a nice amount of room there by Tex Wheeler, but that's given Tidgney the drive he needs to get out of turn 14 a little bit quicker. And just saying that, he's actually had to slot behind the Porsche. That was well driven by both of them.
Yeah, and Asterovich meanwhile just braking late up the inside of Oblitor. And he's taking that position without not too much problem. And again, we see Tidgney trying to sack. Really usual overtaking spot into here because it's slightly awkward braking for this 90 left-hander, and he does back out of it. Should get a good run though down to the next corner as well. Tidgney does seem to be a little bit impatient with Tex Wheeler, but he's playing fair. He's not just going for anything too crazy. Tex Wheeler in the Porsche. We haven't seen the Porsches too high up in the field this season. Tex Wheeler doing a solid job in 13th at the moment.
Yeah, Mickersby's down in 19th, so he's not able to match his teammates' pace at the moment. That's the way it goes sometimes. I mean, for instance, Doc and Domino, the two Mercedes. Domino's in 15th, Doc's doing a great job there in 6th position. He's still got 2 decibels on his tail. Oh dear, as Tex Wheeler ran a little bit too wide, which is so easy to do on that turn 10. Tidgney on the outside rather, and manages to get the move done before he has to turn in. That's 13th then to Tidgney. Kind of think he's going to really start to pull away from the Porsche. We will see. There is Domino in the background. That's Poppleton. He's keeping at bay. That's for 15th position. Oh, steady. Nice and clean coming through 14. And Poppleton is still all over him. I think he's been there for most of the race. There in the background you can see Steve with Iceman and Mickersby and Noah. Relo, of course, having that big spin earlier on, and has fallen off the back of the field as a result. Domino is still under all kinds of pressure. I tell you who else is back under pressure again. It's Jardier for the lead. That's under 3/10 between the pair of them again. And there they are, look. So I think Pops just recalled it. Pops didn't have a good run through turn 9. Just allowed that gap to increase. But Jardier, we're used to just running off into the distance. Oh, again, from that camera angle, it just looks like he was very, very deep, which could be his preferred line. He could just choose to go deep into 11, because pretty much every time he's jumped into that, I've gone, oh! But he seems to have gone through it okay, and he's maintained his lead. Scarazal now gets a penalty on the board. A bit of a shame for him. And on they go. Still these guys maintaining the regular 33s, to be fair. Fab Iceman's is in the 33s. Doc, he's still clocking up the 33s in that Mercedes. 33-3, 33-3 between the pair of them. Not just half a tenth between them. Goodness me. What on earth is going to do we have to put like Jardier in a GT4 or something?
It does appear that might be the only way. Yeah, Jardier is an absolute monster of a driver, as he's proven this season. And Popsu is doing a good job, but like it's hard to see Jardier really make a mistake, even if he's ill. It's we have seen so little from Jardier in the form of mistakes. We have seen a couple. I think it was at Road America. He made a couple. But apart from that, and that was the only race he hasn't won actually as well. He did of course get stopped a bit earlier because of lobby issues, but it was while Jardier was in second and Popsu was in the lead on that occasion. And
it was only this far apart at the point that the server fell apart. So again, that just shows not only how incredible a driver Jardier is, but let's be fair here, the only man to regularly keep Jardier true is Popsu. He's been the most consistent driver to challenge Jardier, so let's not take it away. And to be fair to our other drivers, we've seen some incredible drives from them as well, but it's difficult to keep our attention away from such dominating performance that Jardier has given us.
Yeah, definitely is. Of course, we've had some dominating drivers previously in the leagues, but Jardier is trying to make himself the most dominant, I guess you can say. F1 Masa obviously has had some really strong seasons, Kaki as well. Some big names who have won this league before, but Jardier is to stamp his mark on the list of dominant champions for the AOR GT3 Elite League. But Popsu though, he's trying his best to at least get the win of this race. I think it's going to be hard for him to close the 59.5 point gap in the championship unless something dramatic happens to Jardier.
It would need Jardier to not finish at least twice out of the remaining 4 rounds, which
needs it needs some kind of connection issues, or just having some bad luck with incidents, or actually not being able to attend for a race or two, which I assume he doesn't want to do that because he's not going to throw away this championship lightly after the races he's had so far.
Absolutely. Jardier didn't actually have a good run through turn 5, and that allowed Popsu to close in a little bit further. He's having a look at the inside of 11, not quite close enough for it, but it is, again, it's all the mind games. Jardier knows full well how quick Popsu is and how much pressure Popsu is able to apply. Whether he wants to think about it when he's feeling this rough, who knows. Through turn 14, both of them pretty clean and pretty even. Popsu possibly a little quicker on the exit of that turn. He's got the slipstream, but can he do anything about it? Oh, he's getting closer, having a look at the inside of 1. And interestingly, Jardier didn't feel the need to defend it. He was confident enough in his pace out of the last turn so that he didn't have to go towards the inside line. Popsu a little bit scruffy on the exit of that. There is Oblator. He's actually taken 10th away from Andrex. So there's been swapping around of positions towards the tail end of the points. That's Nick Meadow. He's having a pretty good run in the net, and that's exceedingly defensive.
Oh, he's slowing down. Andrex and Tisney as well. Both through. So Tisney is up to 10th, and Sterovich has dropped down again a few positions. Yeah,
I wonder whether there's been an incident there where Oblator felt the need. He felt like he had to give that back. It didn't look like he'd gone wide. I'm not convinced that was a slowdown penalty from the game. I think there's been an incident of which Oblator felt obliged to give the positions back, and as it was, Tishney then snuck through on Andrex at turn 1. Andrex still in for a decent handful of points. He has scored a 6th earlier in the season. He was the lead non-Ferrari, and so he classed it as a win, in his own words, when we spoke to him after that race. It hasn't gone particularly well for the AOR veteran. He's really piling the pressure on. He's been stuck to the back of someone all race long, and he's now Tidney in the black Audi. Oblator doing his best to stay in the Lamborghini. Marbuensi in the lead Lambo. He's still in 5th position. He's got about 3 points, just under actually 3 seconds between himself and Doc. And he's got about 6 seconds between himself and Fab Iceman, so he's not battling anybody and just keeping his lines good and clean. But we're approaching halfway in this race and still got big clumps of battles going on. Oh dear, Doc does not have the luxury of being able to press on. He's got 2 Desert Pack all over his tail.
Yes, indeed. Doc and Desert Pack both looking good for some strong points here. I did say earlier that Doc was on for his by far best results. Oh, we looked like the Desert Pack was playing a bit late there. Something I slowed down. But yeah, Doc did actually finish 8th last week, which then was his by far best result of the season. But yes, it would still be his best if he could hold on to 5th and 6th, and even if he does drop the position to the Desert Pack. But of course, we got Oscar Zal as well in the one of the many yellow Ferraris, only a couple of seconds behind as well. So. Could be put under more pressure, but Doc has shown some really good pace so far in this race, I have to say. Speaking of good pace though, Jardier, our race leader, has put in a 33.2, which I think is the best lap we've seen all the race so far.
I believe so, yes. It's amazing. Again, we're seeing what we've seen before, where the lap times aren't so massively spread. We've had some races where there's sort of 4 to 5 seconds top to bottom. It's not so much the case this time, and again, what that's allowing for are these clumps of cars, these battles to remain so for such a long period of time, as we are fast approaching halfway now and still got at least 3 or 4 battles up and down the field, and the leader still hasn't broken more than 6 tenths away from 2nd position.
Yeah, Popsu still hanging in there, and this mid-field battle rages on. Of course, 21 drivers remaining in the race, and points are scored down to 20th this season. So basically, unless you're Rillo at the moment, who I believe has been in the pits after his early incident, is way off the pack. But everyone else at the moment on course for at least a point in this race. So it's pace to finish. It's halfway completed at the moment. 20 laps remaining.
Yeah, it's not a nice accolade being the only driver not to score a point in a race, but that's the sad distinction that Rillo has for him for this particular round. And Rich will not like the fact that Lamborghini has been very, very close for quite a long period of time. It's quite an impressive fly collection that the cars are now gathering, and just looking at them, quite well speckled. But it does look like Tisney's just able to edge away from the M6, and it does look like Doc's managed to get a little bit of a gap between himself and the Audi. Although looking at how Doc came off at turn 10, that may disappear as well. Oh, again, from that angle, that looks so deep, but I think what they're doing is just trying to get a hard cutback onto the apex for a faster run out of it.
Yes.
Seems to be working okay for Doc. He's maintained that 4/10 gap between himself and the Audi through turn 14. And on he goes, maintaining that gap. There's Buensi. Let us hope for the Lamborghini lovers out there, namely our camera controller.
What are you talking about? I've never said I love Lambos.
No, not at all. So Mark Buensi continuing his merry way. 1:34.0 last time around, so he's been pretty consistent at that kind of pace. And now it's Jardier's nearly opened up, nearly a second over Jardier. Over Jardier. He's opened up a second over himself. That is quite impressive.
It's so good that he's in first and second place. That's how good Jardier is.
So opened up nearly a second over Popsu, as you can see. But it's whether he can maintain that pace for the remainder of the race. That is, of course, the golden question. Not showing any particular signs of losing the pace so far. As they come through 11, Popsu's reeled him in a little bit this lap. But again, one mistake is very, very costly, particularly when you're at the sharp end, as these two are. 14 again, it's just, no matter what angle you look at Jardier's car, it always looks perfectly in control, perfectly balanced. You look at some people and they are fighting the car like crazy. Jardier never seems to have that particular problem. He's such an expert in setting up the car, but also getting the best out of the setup he's using.
Yeah, it's obviously many people as well saying that the Ferrari is the most stable car as well to drive. But I mean, we have of course had these slight performance changes from the latest patch, apparently, which doesn't seem to have affected the order too much, has to be said. We still got Ferraris in the top 4 at the moment. Jardier leading as we used to, but obviously that's clearly down to his skill as more than the car, because there are also Ferraris further down the field, of course. But we, of course, we do have a Lamborghini, we have Mercedes, we have Audis in the top 10. So other cars also able to fight for a good position at the moment. Jardier, though, is so in control. He has obviously driven a lot of laps in his time on this game so far, and he just refuses to put a foot wrong. It's unbelievable.
Indeed, it's even crazy to think that he's also competing in a different league as well.
Yeah, a different game.
Yeah, absolutely. Different league, different game, completely different environment, alongside maintaining such an incredible performance here at AOR. So, good things to come from Jardier as he comes across the line. You can actually see on his display his best lap. He has actually broken 1:33. We didn't spot it. It was a 1:32.9 on his display. Popsu keeping right with him, really in a 10th last time, but nothing more. We're still seeing quite a few 33s popping up on the board as well. Fab Iceman, Buensi, and Scurras out last time around. So there's pace up and down the field, which is always good to see. Maintaining those battles up and down the field. Doc still has... It looks like Doc has managed to break away a little bit from Tito's back. Yes, actually a second now between the Audi and the Mercedes. So Doc now has got more of an opportunity to concentrate on trying to close that gap down between himself and Buensi. Buensi was just over a 10th quicker than the Mercedes last time, but we have seen 33s pop up on the board from Doc. So now that he can probably get into his stride, and it was lovely turns through 3 4 and 5. And that's again giving him another couple of tenths onto Desert Pack. And not too far behind, as you can see, that is Scars out. There he is. So he's about 1.5. Oh, and there you go. That's what we were talking about with the balance. You just saw the tail of Scarazal's car just kick out there, which is very, very easy to do, particularly at turns 7 and 11, because they are the slow hairpins. It's very easy to floor it too hard, traction control or not, that you can still spin your car. Not that I'm saying I've done that many times myself. I'm not suggesting that at all, but I did.
I haven't had too much better experiences with you around Zhuhai, I think. I do remember an absolute nightmare race for me here back in season 2 or 3. Yeah, just couldn't control the car nearly, and especially the hairpins. I was so struggling with the brakes as well. That's why, in my experience, this is not the best track to drive, but certainly throws up some good racing when you're watching it. And so shows some drivers do like it as a racetrack in the car as well. As Van Omen is being caught by Iceman quite rapidly now.
He is. Half a second that time from Fab Iceman on Van Omen. So the red Ferrari looking to take that last podium step away from Jardier's teammate. Is a battle that's really forming, and again, look at that. Iceman does look like he's closing in quite a rate of knots there. So we'll see what Van Omen has in store. It's 10 seconds off the back of Popsu, who lost 3/10 off the back of Jardier last time around. He still maintains less than a second between the top two. Oh, Fab Iceman got a little bit squirrely there on the exit of turn 9. Through the lap times, Doc actually gained 8/10 on Buensi last time. Still got a gap to gain, a couple of seconds between those two. And at that rate, he will get there pretty darn quickly.
Yeah, certainly still has over 2 seconds, so it's going to be hard. But Doc continuing his very consistent, solid pace in this race. Let's see. I want to see what the lap times are on this lap between these guys. I think we lost another driver down to 19 now. Yeah, Rillo has dropped. He was last anyway. Yeah. And someone else as well, just trying to run through. It might be, luckily it's not Mark Buensi. Top 7 seems to be the same. 8, 9, 10. Oh, wait. No, 13 seems to be the same.
No, I'm no good at figuring that out, I'm afraid. Through turns 4 and 5 again for these two. Iceman has a real... Oh dear, Jardier's made a mistake somewhere. As now Popsu's right with him again. That was 8 or 9 tenths last time around, but Popsu did a 33.2, gained 3 tenths last time around. Now comes through turn 9. Can Popsu maintain that pressure? This is again what we were saying before. One mistake can be very, very costly.
Indeed, and just to quickly answer a question in the chat, Leon the Sick One is not here today. He was one of the drivers that couldn't attend this race as well, unfortunately. Another one being Yorkie, and then a few other drivers as well. So we were a bit down on driver numbers at the start of the race already. Started with 25, I believe.
25, yeah.
Yeah, then Hardway couldn't get on track in qualifying for some technical problems, we think, and then we have dropped 5 drivers so far in the race, down to 19 now, which means all the finishers, as long as they can make 90% distance, they will get full points for completing this race. John here, though, still looking, of course, for the fullest of the full points.
They have to complete lap 36 to be within the 90%. Still some way to go. Jardier himself has 11 laps to do before he gets to that. No one's a lap down yet, which in itself is often quite unusual, but Jardier has had to keep an eye behind him all race, well, I'd say all race long. Since he got the lead, he has not been able to shake off that blue Ferrari. And it did look like Popsy had a pretty good run on the exit of turn 7. The inside before 9, it's a little bit too far back for that. It is a significant braking zone, but he was too far back to try it. He's at 10. Again, both fairly nice and clean through that. I thought they were gaining with someone actually, but that's the car noise you heard is basically on the other side of the wall. There's somebody else coming through turn 7 and 8. That threw me off slightly there because I'm not used to hearing that. I'm used to hearing things from inside the car as opposed from the spectator standpoint.
Yeah.
Through the last turn. And again, Jardier, he played that one a little bit safe. He didn't wander onto the rumble strip too much, and just like neither did Popsu. But look at that, Jardier feeling the need to just position himself slightly onto the defensive line, realising Popsu wasn't close enough for an attack. But it's interesting that even Jardier feels the need to defend.
Yeah, I'm not sure he defended there really. Maybe just, wanted to shake things up a bit, not taking the same line every straight.
5 thousandths of a second, that's all that separated their last lap.
Yeah.
Oh, Popsu was
still doing a really good job of keeping up, to be honest. I mean, he's still not been outside of 1 second behind after being passed by Jardier. Was been close to it a couple of times. He's been over 9 tenths behind, but he's always managed to get those few tenths back to stay in touching distance. So, we will pop out just yet.
Iceberg was the person we couldn't identify, I think. And was it one of our Z4s?
That's a shame. He had such a positive race for him last week when he scored his first points of the season in 14. Obviously would have scored more points this time if we had gotten to the end, considering other drivers have jocked as well. But yeah, unfortunately, sometimes these things
That's the way it goes, sadly. Nature of the beast. Let's have a look through our field then. Jardier, of course, continues to lead. He has been for quite a considerable period of time. He leads our poleman Popsu by less than a second. Van Ommen, there he is. He has got Fab Iceman for company. Iceman hasn't been able to close in more than that half a second, but it's far closer than Van Ommen would have probably liked. That is for the tail end of the podium positions. Van Ommen was a couple of tenths quicker than Iceman last time around. 5th position, our lead Lamborghini is Marbuensi, and look at that behind. That Merc is getting ever so slightly closer lap on lap. Doc setting some pretty damn good pace. Again, he gained 3 tenths on Buensi last time around. That train's going to get bigger very, very soon. Doc has had 2 Desert Pack in 7th position, right with him. Alright, so what is 2 Desert Pack's penalty out of interest?
Let's have a
Just a second.
Look. 1 second for both him and Oscar Zal.
So that is something that the out... Oh dear, very, very squirrely coming through turn 1. So that's going to give Doc some much needed breathing space to try and chase after Buensi. Oscar Zal is not far behind. Oh, look at this! That was Fab Iceman getting about 2 tenths behind Van Ommen then, but couldn't use the extra pace he found. It remains... I thought he flashed the lights then, but I think that's just how it appeared on my screen. Coming into... Oh, you see how this ABS can cause the cars to twitch like that. It's probably not as bad for the drivers as it appears to us, but it does look like the car is struggling to slow down somewhat. But I think that's just how it looks to us more than how it appears to them.
Yeah, I think they got reasonably good control. Of course, these cars do have ABS, so... as they do in real life, so that does help the stability on the brake. I think if they didn't, they would have had to be much more careful. But of course, you still have to nail that braking point. And
we have a new fastest lap on the board.
Oh, that's a bit wide actually for Jardier. Oh, sorry, Van Ommen. Sorry, I thought I was looking at the Ferrari. Let's go. Iceman through to the inside line, coming down to the first corner. That was the opportunity he was looking for. Yeah, it wouldn't have been too realistic for Jardier to be that man on the grass, because he's never on the grass, as we know. But Van Ommen, his teammate, has made a slight mistake there, which he will kick himself for, because that is all that Iceman needed to get up to the podium position.
6 tenths of a second was all that was the difference between those two drivers. And it, like you say, it was... Oh no! Van Ommen's overcooked it at turn 4. That's again, it's so easy to do. He got a little bit frustrated, exactly what you were saying. I bet he was kicking himself with that mistake at 14. He's let that frustration get to his right foot, and he's booted it too much. And the car did not want to stick. Has lost him 6.5 seconds, or 6.2 seconds at least, to Fab Iceman, and he's got Mark Buenti now 2.5 seconds behind.
Look at the lap time from Popsu at 1:32.899. That is the fastest now. I think that's the first 32 lap potential that we've seen from either of these top two. So Popsu is pushing hard at the moment.
He's not wanted to let Jardier run his own race, and that's exactly what he's denied. That's exactly what he's denied Jardier to do. We've seen Jardier just get into getting into his own rhythm unchallenged. Popsu is determined not to let Jardier run off. Again, 32.9 by Popsu, who's reeled in another 10th on Jardier. We did see 32.9 on Jardier's dashboard. I didn't actually see it pop up on the lap board. We didn't see a 32.8. I think that is the fastest lap we've had so far.
Yeah, I think so as well. Popsu, though, with not the best first corner there. That is the thing, because once you get a bit too close to the car ahead, it's so much more easy to make mistakes because you've got that massive rear of the car in front of you. It's going to be harder to spot braking zones and apexes as well. So, you know, as we know, it's one thing to catch. It's a very much another thing to pass, especially when the car you're trying to pass is a Jardier.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at the lap time. Van Orman lost 6 seconds, as previously mentioned, due to that mistake. But Doc continues to press on, still clocking up the 33.9s, and he still has that Audi right behind him. He's probably pretty fed up with that Audi being right with him, but he's got his eyes on the prize. He is looking at Buensi. He is determined to close in and get that 5th position. He's been about 0.3 of a second quicker than the Lambo, but he keeps having to defend from the Audi. If Two Pack made a mistake, or if he wasn't there, I would think that, judging by the lap times we've seen, Doc would be able to close Buensi in. And running out of laps to do it, though, there's only 11 left.
Yeah, only 11 left, and you know, he is closing, as you said, on Buensi, but he's not closing too fast, so he needs to just try to ignore, really, the car in his mirrors and try to focus on his pace. If he wants to get another position in this race, I think he'll still be pretty happy with 6th place, considering it would be his best result of the season, as we mentioned. But, you know, when you go to top 5 in sights, then why not go for it? But we know you have got the pace, because Stock is running consistent 33s. Buensi, it's been usually in the 34s in recent laps. Let's see what it will be this time. Buensi this time does nick into the 33s with a 0.9. Doctor still slightly faster on a 0.8. And Two Pack as well following on a 0.8. So, very close pace between these guys. Van Orman as well, a few seconds ahead at 33.9.
Everyone in the top 7 said a 33 something.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Jardier being, of course, top of the tree, setting 33.0, getting 3.10s on Popsu last time around. Look at that again. Two Pack reeling Doc in and keeping that pressure on the Mercedes. As determined as Doc is to break away from him, Two Pack has an equal amount of determination, and look at that. Two Pack has managed to reel the Mercedes back in. It looks like he's going to be lining up for. Is he going to have a move into 9 rather? No, he chooses not to. The tail really twitched on the Merc then, so it could be the way that Doc prefers it. But it did look like it suddenly snapped to take the apex of turn 9. And there's Buensi. So they have gained a bit on Buensi. Oh, crikey! That was a sudden jump out there from Two Pack, making himself very, very big in the Mercedes mirrors.
Yeah, probably just wanting Doc to keep pushing on and you know, not tamper the progress. If maybe Two Pack as well is eyeing up Buensi potentially as well as a prey up there in 5th place. But you know, the Lamborghini is still running solid pace. Another 33.9 for him, very consistent. 33.9 from Doc, 33.9 from Two Pack. Everyone running the same pace on that particular lap. I'm going to quickly jump back to this battle, because we got 9th, 10th and 11th also pretty close together. The Nissan of Nick Meadow in 9th, ahead of the 2 teammates in the Audi of Nastarovic and Tidney. Could be another interesting battle coming up.
Absolutely, yeah. I was looking at the times and made a mental note of this one as well. But it does look like Nick is just a little bit further ahead than Nastarovic is to Tidney. Just the way it looks when they get properly away from the braking zone. Although, saying that, it doesn't look like the Nissan had a very good run through turn 4. And that's going to put Nastarovic right on Nick Meadows' case. Can he do anything about it? He's had a look on the inside for 7. Oh, that was close. Just managed to close the door, Nick Meadow on Nastarovic. And finally, Jardier has managed to get a second on Popsu. It's taken this long for him to achieve it.
Yeah, that's the first time in the race. So Nastarovic is trying to push that Nissan around the corners. It's a pretty heavy car to push. It does look quite big anyway, that Nissan. But Nastarovic Yeah, he probably feels that McMeter is being a bit of a roadblock for him at the moment.
Oh, that's
He's
again
fully entitled to be that roadblock.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nick Meadow doing his best to keep Nesterovic where he is. Nesterovic doing his best to dislodge the Nissan ahead. Through turn 14. Keeping nice and steady. And the drivers do seem to be keeping away. They're not using all of that rumble strip. Again, you can see in the background that's Andrex and Oblator using a bit more of the rumble strip than we saw from these guys. It is a bit of a risk to do because, of course, you go onto the grass and you will almost certainly lose time as a result because you're trying to power out of a fairly quick corner already, so it increases your likelihood to spin it. Tidney's fallen off the back of this particular battle a little bit, so that's now going to allow Nesterovic to press on and keep the pressure on the Nissan. Now coming into 7 again. He thought about going for the inside line, but opted not to. Again, very close under braking. Nesterovic was trying to get the power down, but couldn't quite out-accelerate the Nissan on the exit of the turn 7.
Not quite. He's getting close here, though. And the braking zone, go for the inside line once again. Is there going to be impact? Yes, there is. And Nick Meadow has gone around. And Tidney gains 2 positions as a result of his teammate being a bit too aggressive there. Nick Meadow turning into the apex. I don't think Nesterovic was quite close enough. And he does take the blame for that incident as well. Lets Nick Meadow back through. Good sportsmanship, but it has helped his teammate, of course, with that moves a little bit of controversy in that one.
Maybe a few words. Few words said about that one probably at post-race, and that's brought Andrex, Oblator and Tex Wheeler right close to this battle as well. Just 1.3 separates Nesterovic and Andrex, so that train could get dramatically bigger before the race is done.
Absolutely. And I think they've had a pace though to legitimately be ahead of Andrex, Oblator and the likes, but of course when you had an incident it could just stay in your mind a little bit and you're not quite able to get back to the same pace and the rhythm that you had previously. Nesterovic will certainly still be pushing hard to try and get this position because Nvidia, of course, is still in the top 10. Nesterovic is not.
Indeed. Plenty of fighting still to go. 7 laps remain here in Zhuhai. Mark Buensi. Doc is half a second behind. The Mercedes has broken clear enough of the Audi to be able to start pressing on for the Lamborghini. Nesterovic keeping the pressure on Nick Meadow. Less than 3 tenths between them yet again. He's having a look on the inside of turn 9 once more. A bit more cautious into that turn this time. Not a surprise. But there's Andrex looming large in the Audi's mirrors as well. Oh, and again the Audi just making himself very, very clear to the Nissan. He's going to have a look at the inside of 11. Can he get it done this time? And again, very close. Doesn't get impact this time, but does not get alongside either.
Just going for it in every single corner by the looks of it. Is Nesterovic. He feels clearly very confident that he should be ahead of the Nissan, but Nick Meadow is making it very hard for him. He should be close here though, but the Nissan gets a much better run off the corner actually, out of the final corner. So Nesterovic will be annoyed that he's not closer than he is going into the first corner of lap 35. So 6 more laps for these guys to duel it out for the top 10 position. And I think we've got a very close battle there as well, yeah. We got, now we can probably say that Doc has caught up to Mark Buensi and will presumably soon be starting Sack.
Absolutely. So he's managed to open up 2 seconds between himself and 2 Desert Pack. Again, 6 tenths last time around, and I would think it may well have been a mistake on the form of the Audi because that gap seems to have appeared very, very quickly. But now Mark Buensi's got it all to do. He hasn't had a lot of defending to do for quite some time. He's been in that 5th position for quite a number of, at least about 20 laps or so. Now suddenly he's got that blue Mercedes breathing down his exhaust pipe, and he's got it all to do, and also keeping an eye on our lead battle. Popsu is closing back in again. He's not let that one go. 5 laps left. That you've just seen, that was Noah, I think, in the Z4 you've just seen go out of the shot. So we're now finally catching up to back markers.
Yeah, we still have another lapped car. That's, I must just say, quite impressive pace then throughout the field, really, because we usually definitely have seen some lapped cars by this time of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had up to something like 7. Oh no! Popsu's overcooked it into turn 9. He's saved it, but he's lost himself all that time and still managed to keep it within a second, unbelievably. So just overcooks it. One mistake into that turn, and that is how much it's going to cost him. That could be his last opportunity. Oh, Doc side by side with the Lamborghini. Oh my goodness me, that's out turn 7. Doc is going to have the outside for turn 9, but Mark is going to have a more difficult braking angle to do. He's managed to get it done, but Doc's going to have a... No, I thought he was going to go for a switchback then. He opted not to. These two not to... Oh, Mark's gone too wide. That's going to be an easy pass for Doc, but can he keep it before they get to the turn? Mark Bowensi, I think, had to slow down. He's allowed the Merc through. As they now come through turn 11, can Doc hold on to it for another 5 laps?
Well, it remains to be seen, but he has had slightly better pace than Mark Bowensi throughout most of this race, and I think Mark will be quite frustrated with himself for just that. We've seen several cases of that. Really, this race that someone gets caught and then they make just a tiny mistake, and that is all that is needed for them to lose the position. Yep. And it was the case again for Mark Bowensi, who goes very late on the brakes into turn 1. That's not going to help his exit though, and he at least managed to avoid contact with the blue Mercedes.
Indeed.
Wow. Yeah, Doc will be pleased on for his first top 5.
And that one mistake cost Bowensi a second over Doc, and that's what's cost him the position. So, but it's only half a second that separates them. So again, now Doc is the one under pressure. And now Doc finds himself as the lead non-Ferrari. I'm sure he's not really thinking about that right now. He's just thinking about the fact he's got these very bright Lamborghini headlights in his rearview mirrors. Again, Mark Bowensi having a look on the inside of 9. Opts not to. Doc just has to keep his lines. He has had the pace, and he will know that he's had the pace on the Lamborghini, but Mark Bowensi will know that his only chance is to apply the pressure now to prevent Doc running off into the distance.
Absolutely. Oh, that looked pretty late, but again, that's it looks so weird from
it does look weird from here, yes.
It looks like they're gonna, first of all, it looks like they're going too deep on the brakes, and then it looks like they're going to spin on the exit.
Yeah.
But none of these things are actually happening. So it's all good for Doc at the moment. Bowensi trying to get a good exit on the final corner. Let's have a look at what the straight line speed will be with these cars. Looks like Mercedes have got by far the better straight line speed going down the main straight. Lamborghini not able to get anywhere near into the braking zone, of course. Not only car differences, also setup differences between the drivers. How low downforce did they run? How lots of different settings. I don't even know all the settings because setups confuse me.
I am in exactly the same boat. Whilst I have competed in a couple of leagues, I know absolutely squat about car setups. That's why the leagues I've competed in have been fixed setup leagues. So the BMW 320 league from Project CARS 1 and the Ginetta G40 league from PCARS 2.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of no setup league, but I think for the Grand Slam of leagues in terms of Project CARS 2 on AOR anyway, I think the pro drivers will want to that element of being able to adjust the setup and put that time in to prepare for the race and get the car to how they like it. It's actually getting quite dark.
Very dark.
Yeah, it's very sudden. I haven't really thought about it until now.
That's what I was just thinking. I was thinking, I'm sure it has not been this dark for very long. It can't have been.
I swear we started this race in the day.
In the day? Yeah, we certainly did.
It was late afternoon, but I didn't know it was that late.
I mean, how much of a difference this will realistically make? Obviously, there is only 3 laps to go, so I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. Oh! Bowensi's had a much better run on the exit of that final turn. Doc's going to have to defend very hard. He's gone for the inside line. He can't weave again, and Bowensi this time does choose to stay behind the Merc. Oh, he's...
Look how close it is!
Oh dear, that was very, very close. Less than 2 tenths separated them at that moment, but look at the power, look at the speed that Doc gets away from the Lamborghini. Again, that, exactly as you were saying earlier, Fizzy, a lot of that is setup difference. Oh, he's deep. He's deep into that turn, though. That's going to be an opportunity for Bowensi to close him back in. So the Merc, Doc is utilising the speed of the Merc where he can, but a number of these straights are not very long. Oh, how was that not impact? How was that not impact? That was very well done. Mark Bowensi is not wanting to let that 5th position go. Doc staying very firmly into the inside line. Heavy on the brakes for turn 9. It's not going to... Mark Bowensi can't do much of a cut back at the moment. You've then got turn 10 right with you. Oh, Bowensi was much quicker through 10, but he was too close. He couldn't use the pace. Now let's see what turn 11 looks like from here. Did you see how hard Doc turns into the corner?
Wow! Even on the exit, it was tied to the apex.
He threw that Mercedes in, and wow! He got a hell of a drive on the exit of 12.
I have to say that Doc hasn't had seemingly perfect exits for a lot of the corners on that lap, but it does look like he kind of fought it because of the straight line speed he has in that Mercedes. It's clearly running quite low downforce, so maybe lower than Mark Bowensi, unless it's just a car. That's how we have, of course, seen in past seasons that Mercedes have a straight line speed at a good level, obviously, but it's usually been the SLS that I've noticed having the straight line speed. Let's look at the AMG as well. LA is good on the straights. And that is, of course, going to make it harder, because if Doc can afford to make these slight mistakes on the exit of corners and still not be under pressure into the next one, Bowensi needs something extra, and he closed later on the brakes than the car ahead of him. Oh, and then he gets a much better exit, but again, he just can't use the pace because that Mercedes is right in his way on this line.
Well, the Mercedes that big, it can block half the track on its own. So, I mean, if they were racing at something like Macau, you'd never get anywhere. 2 laps. Oh, final lap. I beg your pardon. The leaders have begun the final lap. No, they won it. I thought they'd only just begun it, but no, they've actually just crossed the line. Jardier once again takes the win. What? Can anything stop this man? Five Iceman. We've completely missed this. We concentrate on another battle. Five Iceman. Another podium for him. Brilliantly done. Van Orman has been denied the last podium spot by Van Iceman. But Doc continues to fend off the Lamborghini as well. So Bowensi will take 6th. Doc is going to be happy with that. Don't celebrate too early. two Desert back. There he is. He's going to take 7th in the Audi. Ascarazal comes across the line in the next Ferrari in 8th, and then it's going to be Titney in the Audi. He's very much on his own. He will take 9th. Nick Meadow in the Nissan is going to round out the top 10. There he is. Andrex, who's going to finish in 11th in the M6. There he is. There is Oblator in the next Lambo in line. I'm assuming he's broken his headlights. That's why they aren't on. Oh, that's an unusual line by Nesterowicz. Oh dear, he has a lot of damage on that. He has no rear wing.
He's lost his rear wing, yeah. And he's just coasting along the wall there. He's clearly not happy with the race he has had today. 14th place. He started in the top 5, I think.
Domino's got company then. That's Poppleton that's right with him in the next Mercedes. Poppleton then takes 16th. Steve, there is the red Ferrari. It's a shame for Steve. We saw him do so well a few races ago, but just has not been able to find that form again. And the rest had only 2 cars lapped on that occasion. There,
I have to say, I'm very pleased. It does look like Project Cars have fixed some issues with the timing, because we didn't get the issue of all the cars disappearing off the timing screen when they crossed the line.
Very happily so. Jardier once again, all bar 1 wins, has gone to this man. 6 out of the 7 rounds we have had has gone to Jardier. Popsu keeping him true, taking the fastest lap by, what's that, 8,000ths of a second. Fab Iceman 3, Van Orman 4, Doc 5, Bowensi 6, 2 Desbach 7, Oscaro Ozal 8, Tishney 9, and Nick Meadow rounds out the top 10.
Indeed. And then we got to Andrex getting some solid points there. He was at the 10th briefly after starting 17th, but dropped down to 11th in the end. Oblitor, a solid result for him. Tex Wheeler as well in the Porsche, and getting some good points. Nesterowicz having a bad day for his standards, and then Domino, of course, holding off Poppleton for 15th. We saw them close together whenever we looked at them. So 19 finishers, 25 guys starting. A few troubles for a lot of the guys, but
shall we see who we can
very
find?
Exciting race.
Let's see who we can find to talk to. Let's grab some people in here. Apologies, every time we grab people over, we always interrupt their conversations. Firstly, let us speak to, once again, another race victory. Despite the fact you were apparently ill, so you've clearly been lying to us all day. Zhuhai.
Yes. Man, I just wish to show you my face cam or something, because I'm just devastated. I'm just dead completely.
Oh dear. So despite the fact that you're quite ill, you still managed to fend off Popsu. Was it a case of just managing that, or were you really having to press very, very hard to keep Popsu behind you?
Well, to be completely honest, I think the best part of the race was when I was behind Popsu, because I was just focusing to stay behind, and I was just drinking tea and coughing all the time. And then when I overtook him, I was just trying to focus on my race. And I started coughing and sweating and everything, because I'm just really feeling bad, and I just couldn't move away, I just couldn't do anything else. I was just trying to hold the gap and hope for the best.
Goodness me. A great win again, especially considering you're not on personal form. Fab Iceman, another podium for you. What a belter. How are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling good, thank you. It's been a nice race. P3 is obviously a fantastic result for me, and despite the fact that I started from P8, I don't know what I'm doing wrong in qualifying, but throughout the whole race, I was battling the guys in front of me, and then all of a sudden they were doing mistakes. So I got gifted like P7, P6, 5, P4, and then in the end P3.
Brilliant stuff. Well, part of racing is taking opportunities that are presented to you. Well done to you. Now, Doc, first time that I've seen you this far. This is your best result of this season, the lead non-Ferrari. You did say to me earlier in the week that you were confident the Mercedes would do well, and my God, did you prove us right. How was that for you?
This track really does suit the AMG, such as Long Beach as well. Very low, nitro aspirated engine, suits it really nice, and all I did was set up the car for straight line speed. I was losing so much time in the corners, but once in a slipstream, the car the AMG just went by.
It looked like you looked like you
exactly,
really...
I was going to say, once you got past Mark Buensi, he had no chance of getting back past you, even if you got slightly bad exits on the corners, because the straight line speed was just keeping him back there.
Yeah, we did watch quite a lot of that battle between you and Buensi in particular. I mean, you must have been fighting quite hard to keep that Lambo behind you.
Yeah, that Lambo was so good on the brakes. The AMG, I had to brake at least 20 meters earlier than that Lambo. All I tried to do was get my braking on point and try to get to the apex as fast as possible, park the car, then accelerate out. So I was trying to do, and luckily it did work. Great job.
And finally, Van Ommen. So another decent haul of points for you. How was that race for you?
It was a struggle, man. It was a struggle. It was very difficult to stay consistent. Actually, congrats to Iceman, because I think consistency won him the third place. It was a battle, to be honest.
Good stuff. Unfortunately, we are running out of time a little bit, so we are going to wrap this up here. Thank you very much to our drivers for putting on such an incredible show. It's me and Fizzy have had a hell of a lot to shout about. Thank you very much to our spectators, those that have been with us throughout the stream. It's always a great pleasure to stream for you. Thank you very much, Fizzy, for being in control of the cameras. As always, a great pleasure to be in the box with you, sir.
Likewise, and really happy with the race today in terms of from a viewer's point of view, because some of the battling we saw in the first 10-15 laps was just fantastic to see. So hoping for more of the same next week at Zolder. Slightly trickier track, I would say. Maybe not as set up for overtaking, but I'm sure we'll get some good action.
Absolutely, yeah. Really looking forward to returning to Belgium for that one. And thank you very much to everyone that's caught up with the race afterwards. We will be back here for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.